Hello, good evening. It is Wednesday, December 17th, 2025. Welcome to Unveiled Vibrations, where we come together and have the conversations about things that are happening in this world and other things that we tend to have held back and not had the open conversation. Tonight, I'm going to talk about some Antifa, some ICE in their lives, as well as some healthcare updates, some church mess, and the late Rob Reiner. Let's start the show. What's happening? Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Weekly Dose of Reality with your host, TD McCollum. Thank you all for joining me this evening. We have a lot to discuss. And I think one of the first items I would like to get off my plate is the state of TD. Amen. Y'all, I am fresh off of a bit of a 2-week hiatus. And I partially apologize that I wasn't able to come and join you guys and have a bit of a conversation. Well, actually, only 1 week. Yeah, 1 week. As I look at the calendar, a lot has gone on with me. With no other further ado, I will light my candle and get this thing hot. This year for me, 2025, has been quite a bit of a roller coaster of some sort for me. That's my best description I can give it. I've had some highs and I had some lows. As we come to the close of 2025, understanding that the biggest takeaway this year, we're not alone in what we're going through, and other people going through it maybe a little bit less than what you perceive that you're going with, or it could be a little bit greater than what you're going through with. But know that you're not alone in this. And gotta understand that what you're going through is yet still a part of the building blocks of who you are and who you are becoming. Um, through the trials, the tribulations, and all of the ebbs and flows of wins and losses. Some of us had this year more wins than others. If you're still here amongst the living, that means there is a purpose for you and there's more for you to do coming in 2026. I want to give a few shout outs to some people that are in the space tonight. Shout outs to my man, Justin Butler. He says, hi. And I say, hello to you too, brother. We have the great JoJo Speaks here tonight. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. He says, hey, Tyrone. Hey, Dustin. Hey to you, Mr. JoJo. And he also says, everyone, please remember to thumbs up the video as you come in. Please do. Every time you hit that like button, it increases our chances of being featured somewhere else on this great Beyonce's internet. And that will add more people to the conversations that we have here on Unveil Vibrations. Weekly dose of reality. Amen. Let's go. We have the lovely Bianca Edwards here tonight. She says, happy Wednesday, TD McCollum. Hey, fam. Hey to you too. The gorgeous, illustrious, vibracious J Star Brand is in the building. Welcome, my lady. Welcome. She says, good evening, Tyrone, and hey, JoJo, hey, and Dustin. Miss Bianca says hello to all of y'all. And JoJo says hello, right back at you. All right. I got a lot on the docket tonight. And earlier today, it took me quite a few hours to kind of format this evening's show. Let me share this with you so far so y'all understand where I'm coming from. Ain't no jokes. Y'all see all this right here? I got a lot to get through tonight. Some of it's gonna be funny. Some of it ain't gonna be nah. Some of it gonna make you mad. Some of it's gonna make you sad. But it wouldn't be reality if we weren't having the real conversations that I have felt that is much needed. In recent news, we had our president of the United States announced and piggybacked with it. The FBI, our former intelligence here in the United States, come out and say Antifa is the #1 terrorist organization. Prime #1. And with that, I find it hilarious what I've discovered on the internet. I shall present my findings. In a second here.
My position.
So you have this gentleman here, Benny Thompson of Congress, questions Michael from the intelligence branches of our government about Antifa. And it's quite interesting what he says about him.
Antifa. That's our primary concern right now.
All right, that's what President Trump did. What does the FBI say?
We share the same view. When you look at the data right now, you look at the domestic terrorist threat that we're facing right now, what I see from my position is that's the most immediate violent threat that we're facing on the domestic side.
So where is Antifa headquartered?
Where is Antifa headquartered is a solid question. If they're #1 to the United States,
what we're doing right now with the organization.
Where in the United States does Antifa exist?
Yeah.
If it's a terrorist organization and you've identified it as #1.
We are building out the infrastructure right now.
So what does that mean?
we are building out the infrastructure right now. I'm like, so what does that mean too? You know, like I'm with the congressman here. What does that mean? What do you mean you're building out the infrastructure? Are you building out who to you is Antifa? Or what Antifa is supposed to be? Explain yourself.
We trying to get the information. You say Antifa is a terrorist organization. Tell us as a committee, how did you come to that? Where do they exist? How many members do they have in the United States as of right now?
Well, that's very fluid. It's ongoing for us to understand that. The same, no different than Al Qaeda and ISIS.
No.
It's fluid. It's ongoing. And you immediately throw out these other organizations that have been named and branded as terrorist organizations. Where? Where? What do you mean it's ongoing? Make it make sense. Cause you're not making sense right now.
No, I don't want you. I'll ask one question, sir. I just want you to tell us. If you said Antifa is the #1 domestic terrorist organization operating in the United States, I just need to know where they are, how many people. I don't want a name. I don't want anything like that. Just how many people have you identified with the FBI that Antifa is made of?
Well, the investigations are active.
The investigation is active.
Sir, you wouldn't come to this committee and say something you can't prove. I know. I know you wouldn't do.
Either this young man, middle-aged man, came in there high, drunk, or something, and thought this whole thing was a joke, or somebody set him up for the okie doke. They played you, my brother. You are a joke. And based off of this, you deserve to be the laughing stock. Because it lets you know that y'all grabbing at straws over there in this administration, and y'all will do anything to push your agenda even further. And
Do that. But you did.
Executive Board of Domestic Terrorist Organization, Antifa. That's our primary concern right now.
To sit up here and be like, yeah, man, we're still learning about them. We're still trying to figure it out, but they're #1, and they're the greatest threat to America right now is Antifa. What is an Antifa? We're still trying to figure that out. Huh? Whoa, 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 whoa. How do you just arbitrarily brand and label something and promote it and stuff it into the American people's face that this is an imminent threat to society and America's infrastructure and everything that America stands for has the potential to be wiped out by Antifa? How? How can you say that? You can't say who the #1 leader of, because let's be real. When it came to Al Qaeda and everybody, y'all put up Osama bin Laden. Bin Laden this, Bin Laden that, as the face. of the organization. And over the years since he was taken out, y'all placed many other faces as the face of ISIS, the face of Al Qaeda. And at some point, y'all say Al Qaeda's dead. And all of a sudden, y'all say they're back. Here we are again, now with a new group. And now you're trying to say they're domestically homegrown. They're everywhere. Sounds like you're fear mongering. Where we look at the terrorist threat. Like, do y'all hear how they were framing this? But yet still, we don't know what it is. And when you go and do a Google search for what Antifa supposedly is, I'm not going to do it on my computer, but what comes back is quite interesting. And several people on social media has done this research, and everybody has come to the consensus that its origin is, in fact, specifically anti-fascism. But y'all try to paint it as if these mysterious people are organized to the point where they have a headquarters and they're here on American soil, and they're our neighbors, they're our trash collectors, they're everywhere, and you better be on the lookout. You might as well say we got Martians among us. You might as well say that we've been living amongst a society with aliens disguising themselves as human beings, and they've been picking our fruits and vegetables and packaging them and slowly creeping special seasonings in them to stir up the pot and do things to us and steal our information. And no, none of that is going on. In fact, under the umbrella of anti-fascism, that means anybody that is against you and your agenda. Just say that. But no, you have to paint and create this narrative that it is worse than it actually is. Just like y'all did before the election. This is the worst economy ever. You guys are losing your jobs. Ain't nobody lost their job. You guys, grocery bills are so high. It was a little high. Ain't as high as it is right now. Healthcare is the most expensive that has ever been. Healthcare is expensive, but it's not that expensive when there are government programs that subsidize those things. I'll get to the healthcare part later, but do you kind of understand where I'm coming from? Where people have this ability to twist words and frame things in which they can paint this enemy amongst you very easily and get you to pull into it because they have something to point at as the cause of your pain, the source of your suffering. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't do the research, don't question it. They just go with it. And I'm like, Now I find it funny. I saw a post online that had me chuckling. And when I show y'all this, it lets me know how serious they were about this Antifa thing. Because it's all a joke to me. And when it becomes not a joke anymore is when they start gathering us up, those that have a voice that combats their voice and want to label us under this umbrella of whatever they're concocting with this. And when I'm gonna show y'all this video, and I want y'all to understand that these guys are absolute idiots for even labeling them as the number one threat. Let me cue this up for a second here. Shout outs to Google. Google. Here we have someone.
So we're field commanders from ANTIFA, and we would like to save FBI some money. We are here to turn ourselves in.
I'm part of the Virginia field commander of ANTIFA. We're here to turn ourselves in.
And I'm the leader of the ANTIFA QRF force that travels the country. I'd like to turn myself in.
Ladies and gentlemen, these gentlemen walked into the FBI building in Washington, D.C. in the biggest troll of 2025. Call them out on a BS. Call them out. These two gentlemen, Caucasian white gentlemen, walked into the FBI building and stated they were the leaders.
Give me just a second. Thank you.
For both Army veterans. We are in a public lobby, are we not? In a public place?
Can we film out here? We're still.
This is a public lobby, is it not? The First Amendment says anything by public.
But I mean, we're here to turn ourselves in as Antifa, so it's kind of like, we're filming and all, but we're field commanders of Antifa. Apparently, we're terrorists.
Yeah.
We've been labeled as terrorists by this administration, so we're kind of concerned. We wanted to turn ourselves in.
Yeah, you guys said something about.
We'll just wait right over here.
Yeah.
Ex-civil rights. Well, yesterday, I was dragged out of an encampment, and then me and Barron and Kate held the line as they fucking pushed us onto the ground. Despite our First Amendment permit, our legal protest, our rights were violated. Where is the FBI?
What are you guys doing? Why is Headset bombing fishermen in the Caribbean? You guys are not enforcing the law in there.
What is the FBI doing? What are you guys doing in there? Are you? What are you guys doing? The criminals are in the White House.
To pull workers off to the side and talk to them, and this lets you know that this whole thing about Antifa is a complete joke. And we can't take them serious. We cannot take this administration serious. And when a real serious threat comes along, we'll be so numb to the antics that we won't take that serious. And lives will be lost because of that. Foolishness.
The criminals are in the Pentagon. You're not doing your job. Dude, come here real quick, man. Talk to me. You are definitely Cash Patel's drug dealer. Look at this guy. Are you infiltrating a hippie colony? Is that what you're doing? Why are you guys not arresting the... Oh, he won't even let you in. He won't... You're all...
If you want to go see this post and other posts, this is the woke farmer on Instagram. And I think it's absolutely hilarious that they were able to walk into the FBI building in Washington, D.C. and state, yeah, I'm with Antifa. I'm here to turn myself in because y'all said we're the number one threat. Huh? If y'all were really buck, y'all would have put him on some handcuffs right then and there. But y'all not really real about that. Ain't no way. Another lie that has been perpetuated. Like Just Outright says, if you are still trying to figure it out, how do you know they are number one? They can't be number one. Number one means you got a lock and beat on what they've been doing, how they've been doing it, how long they've been doing it, who's been doing it, and who has been helping them to do it. You ain't got none of that. Not one bit of it. But yet still you want to be out here and promote that as if and to know that most Americans, like JoJo Speaks says here right here, I never understood what that was myself. What is Antifa? What is it? By definition, it's anti-fascism. What does that mean? That means we're against, people are against the thought of fascism, the thought of the rich rule over the poor, that our government is ran by rich people, that they benefit more than the minorities. And what's so crazy about it is that y'all are manufacturing this thing into something that y'all are not going to be able to control once it takes off and runs. All you're going to do is take off and run and hide in a bunker somewhere. while all out war spreads out in the streets. And to know that you're kind of doing this on purpose because you're in the mind state of, well, I'm rich and I'm not going to be touched. And another day, another person. As long as it ain't me. It's like, what are we going to do, Americans? The enemy that you have been force-fed into believing is your enemy is not really your enemy. But y'all just that gullible to fall for that. And to know that y'all just that gullible plays right into the fascist hands because they're like, hey, all I got to do is point to a imaginary evil and they'll go off and do the work for us. Start the fire and watch the blaze spread. It's an ideology of fascism. And as the fire rises and incinerates everything around you, you're fine as long as it doesn't touch your house. The moment that it hits your grass, you're looking for a way out and you're expecting everybody to help you while you sit in there while the whole world is on fire. Around the world, people say Americans are selfish. We can agree on that. Because look at what we do. It's not until things get incredibly dire when our humanity comes forward. Similar to what's going on now in the Pacific Northwest with the floods. Those people weren't even thinking about it. The possibilities of what could happen to them and whom will come to their rescue until they were in it. When it was the Midwest, the New Mexico, Arizona, Upper Texas time when they were having floods, those people over there weren't even thinking about them. Now it's their turn. They're like, woe is me. Enough of that. I'm on to my next docket. Kristi Noem and ICE. Lies. All the lies that they tell. Let me tell you something. Y'all got to see this right here. I'm going to show it to you. But she lied so bad. Shout out to my man Aaron from the Midas Touch for presenting this.
Secretary, how many United States military veterans have you deported?
Sir, we have not deported U.S. citizens or military veterans.
I don't believe you served in the military. I haven't either, but I think you and I can agree that as Americans, we owe everything to those who have served our country in uniform, particularly those who have served in combat. Do you agree with that?
Sir, I believe that people that are in this United States that are citizens have legal status here.
Madam Secretary, we are joined on Zoom by a gentleman named Sejun Park. He is a United States Army combat veteran who was shot twice while serving our country in Panama in 1989. Like many veterans, he struggled with PTSD and substance abuse after his service.
Listen close.
He was arrested in the 1990s for some minor drug offenses, nothing serious. He never hurt anyone besides himself, and he's been clean and sober for 14 years.
Clean and sober for 14 years, ain't hurt nobody but himself, and had a minor case infraction. And what did they do?
He is a combat veteran, a Purple Heart recipient. He has sacrificed more for this country than most people ever have.
What did they do?
Earlier this year, you deported him to Korea, a country he hasn't lived in since he was 7 years old.
Since he was 7 years old. A veteran of America sent back to his birth country? Somewhere that he hadn't been since he was 7. And y'all sent him there. Why? Because he's not American? What? But he fought for America. Bled for America. Almost died for this country, and yet still y'all deport him? Why?
Will you join me in thanking Mr. Park for his service to our country?
Sir, I'm grateful for every single person that has served our country and follows our law.
She said,
Sir, I am grateful for every person that has served this country, but you didn't even thank this man for his service. You just skipped over that. Skip right over it, man. Nah. Well, I stand with our veterans, and I would never do, but you did it. Y'all did it. You and ICE did it. Why? Because we're getting rid of all the criminals. This man hadn't done nothing. He had a record. Y'all went and go pick them up, send them away. Ask no questions. Because y'all had an agenda. That's number one. Number two, y'all had a quota. Send how many y'all had for that month away. So y'all can have the data to say, we did it. At what cost? At what cost? You disrespected a veteran. Period. U.S. combat veteran that fought for America. Apparently, he was legally here as an American. when he left his home country, somewhere that he had been since he was age 7, and y'all sent him back there. Why? Because y'all had a quota. And then you sat up there and lied. That we didn't send anybody that was a veteran, a U.S. veteran away. Yes, you did. And you got called out on it. And when you looked at him, well, he doesn't look American to me, is what you're saying. Well, if he was an upstanding American, he would have never been in this predicament in the first place. Well, guess what? He cleaned up his life. A lot of Americans have yet to clean up their lives. And yet still, y'all put up with their mess. Y'all don't send them to jail. Hell, y'all don't send them to a whole nother country. Yet. Potentially, that's where y'all leading towards in the future. I'll come back to that later on another podcast. And it's just mighty darn funny to me that y'all just shrug your shoulders at that like it was nothing. And then what makes matter worse, while she was in this hearing, she said, "Oh, I have a meeting to go to. I have to leave now." Turned out the meeting was canceled and you lied again. Didn't return back. No, you needed a way out and you used that as an excuse to run away from your responsibility. Here's more
security. And it says, stop fear mongering. ICE does not arrest or deport U.S. citizens. If a U.S. citizen is arrested, it is because they have obstructed or assaulted law enforcement. ICE does not arrest or deport U.S. citizens.
Here we go.
I just want to ask briefly each of the 5 U.S. citizens that are here, is this tweet a lie? Mr. Retes, is this tweet a lie?
100% it's a lie.
Ms. Figueroa, do you agree?
Wait, what do we have here? We have real U.S. citizens that have come forward to say that they were deported when y'all said y'all weren't deporting U.S. citizens. But he didn't look American, right? He looked Hispanic. But he has his documents, right? He's an American, right?
Is this tweet a lie?
That's a damn lie, and they know it.
This young lady. Same thing. They're hold on. Once is a mistake. Twice we messed up.
Mr. Chavarria, is this tweet a truth or a lie?
I've heard one.
It's a lie.
Mr. Ramirez, is this tweet true or a lie?
Oh, fourth one?
Ms. Velez? Thank you.
Fifth
Now,
person.
every U.S. citizen here agree that
5 U.S. citizens were deported. That's strange. And as we look at them, each and every one of them have a certain trait that were able to follow their Hispanic sounding name, look of a Hispanic heritage and descent, slight Hispanic-ish accent. Interesting.
This tweet by Homeland Security is a lie. And Secretary Noem should be ashamed. She should resign. She should not be running any agency of the United States of America. This is actually a tweet.
And to look at this tweet, stop fear mongering. ICE does not arrest or deport U.S. citizens. If a U.S. citizen is arrested, it is because they obstructed or assaulted law enforcement. What makes someone a target for immigration enforcement is if they are illegally in the U.S., not their skin color, race, or ethnicity. Really. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up, people. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And I'll tell you, well, let's see this one.
What's your name?
This is a small
What's your name?
detainee, as
What's your
stated.
name? What's your name? You can't do that. What is your name? What is your name? What is your name? What is your name? What's your name?
What? This man is shouting, I'm a U.S. citizen. I am a U.S. citizen. And recently, the tables have turned on Somalian Americans. Excuse me. According to the president, they're not American. They came from a country that produces nothing but trash. And he doesn't want them here. So they started rounding up people that look Somalian. And this is what you see.
No! You guys back it up. Back it up. Don't touch me, man. Don't touch me. Don't fucking touch me. Inside issue. Call 911. Call 911. Please take him out. Call 911. What's your name?
We have a problem here in America when the leader of the free nation can just create a narrative of a people and then his goons go out and execute things against them, making them look criminal when they're not criminal. And that's the results of it, that things escalate. and what's so quite cringing for me these days is the fact that Somalians look very close to some of us natural born citizens. For y'all to just go up and round them up. It can't be that easy that you're just walking down the street. Hey, does that guy look Somalian to you? Yeah, I think he's from Somalia. Yeah. Let's go get him. Let's go get some. Yeah. And then to know that y'all out here utilizing, shout out to the Breakfast Club for pointing this out. SZA's song as y'all anthem for Christmas holiday season is cuffing season, and creating promo videos for rounding up people that are quote unquote illegals and criminals. It's absolutely insane to me that y'all are allowed to do such without anybody stopping y'all. But apparently, there were some whistleblowers amongst y'all. It made it into a Vanity Fair article this week from Miss Wow. And I'm like, wow. Now this here, did y'all know that Carolyn's sister-in-law
over your own sister,
my sister,
and now all of this is happening? I mean, what?
And she named her.
What do you have to say to her?
The godmother?
I think what I would have to say to Caroline is just because you went to a Catholic school doesn't make you a good Catholic. You know, you're a mother. You are a mother now, and you should know. How would you feel if you were in my shoes? You know, how would you feel if somebody did this to you? Because at the end of the day, nobody's above the law. You know, it could happen to anybody. So I can't wrap my mind around it. And hopefully there's a logical explanation for all of this.
I mean, this is just a picture of you. Obviously, we've blurred your son's face out, but it's you and Caroline.
Yes. Little pool party.
Yes. I mean,
in Atkinson, yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. I'm trying to understand and have faith that there's some logical explanation behind any of this, but there isn't. I'm not the first. I'm surely not going to be the last. There's thousands of women and families and children being separated daily. Where does it end? When does it stop?
Where does it end? Where does it stop? We thought it would have kind of subdued when one of her family members was taken by ICE, mainly you, young lady, but unfortunately that hadn't stopped this administration from enacting their will and standing on it with 10 toes down as if they were in the right, knowing that it was all wrong, and yet still they kept doing it. Kept going. Send this poor woman away. And the allegations around it is that they were going through a separation with her and her husband, which is Caroline's brother, and over the custody case, and somebody put her on the radar of ICE to get her out the way. Thank goodness for good lawyers. And she was able to prove herself to be innocent. But not a lot of people are able to do such as she was. And to know that the press secretary had somebody and zero empathy, know somebody personally, has broken bread with them, gone on vacations with them, and nothing. Bloop. Whatever. And this guy here,
quote unquote, Somali.
No, they're not. You know, the law requires agents are trained in Fourth Amendment training every 6 months. Border Patrol's trained Fourth Amendment training. They stop. You can detain and question people for a short period of time based on reasonable suspicion. That's,
and what is that? Based
on reasonable suspicion. What do you mean by that? How does one become under the umbrella of reasonable suspicion? You're suspicious, and I think I should question you. It's borderline stop and frisk. That's what that is. Essentially, that's what it is. Hey, you there. Show me your papers. Where are you going? How'd you get here?
That suspicion.
Federal statute.
Is it based on how they look?
No, their appearance alone can't raise reasonable.
Their appearance alone can't raise
suspicion. It's articulable facts. A lot of different facts taken into consideration.
The aggressive tactics that we are seeing in video after video. You're comfortable with those tactics that we're all seeing with our own eyes?
Yeah.
These officers out there look for the worst of the worst, so they're protecting themselves, and I think they're following the law. And if any ICE officer, Border Patrol agent, acts out of policy or does something inappropriate, they'll be held accountable.
They'll be held accountable, he says. And over the weekend, one of these ICE agents takes a lady out of the vehicle in which
these are U.S. citizens and harassment, man. Around the corner. I just seen a pregnant lady get dragged through the streets for no reason, man. This is messed up, America. And this is, I don't know whose fault this is. Y'all know whose fault this is, man. That orange man sitting in the office.
Hey, man. Where's the justice for her? Right here.
Let her go. Let her go.
This agent right here has his knee on a pregnant woman on the ground in the snow off of reasonable suspicions. They took her out of her car. How can you know what somebody is sitting in a moving vehicle? Or even if they stopped at the stoplight or in traffic on the side of the road. It's suspicious that you're parked on the side of the road. So I came over to see who you were and ask you for your papers. And if you're a U.S. citizen or you had a criminal record, so I could take you down. But I'm going to take you down because you're suspicious. And so I'm going to arrest you, take you away, put you in a detention camp until we can prove otherwise. But yet I'm in danger and I'm fearful you're going to do something to me. Huh? Lies. It's all lies. This was in Minneapolis. They're going after Somalians and other Hispanics and African Americans. And why? Because the president said so. We got a problem here.
They can't do none. We're all citizens. Who they gonna arrest? U.S. citizens?
Y'all ran out of people to collect. So now you have no one else to turn to but U.S. citizens. And why? Yeah, I got a quota. I mean, boo. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. Your thoughts and notions are to just gather anybody that you can. Come get them. Because they had to be doing something. Because y'all suspicious. Why y'all walking down the street like that together? Damn, we just left church. I'll be damned, we just walked out of the grocery store and we live down the street around the corner. Damn you being in this country, speaking your native language around us. Come lock them up. Come get them. No, this is America, right? No, it's not. The land of the free, home of the brave? No. No, it's not. There is no freedom ringing in America. Not like this. I digress. Welcome. Miss Kim is here. She says, hey, y'all. Hey to you. She says also, ice was heavy in Illinois today. My manager lives there, and she was getting updates via the neighborhood group text. Yeah. My heart goes out to all these areas in which they're using it as test grounds for the future. Because they have a plan. And unfortunately, I believe everybody that ain't amongst the lesser pigmented brigade, rich, less pigmented brigade, it ain't safe. I'll come back to that later, or perhaps on another show. Ms. Kim says, Kamala told us that he would unleash the military and a specialized force that pledged their loyalty to him on our neighbors. She said it. You're correct. Absolutely correct on that one. Mm-hmm. Now, this is disturbing right here, what Ms. Kim says. That area of Illinois is a wealthy suburb. Lots of families have Hispanic nannies out there. And ICE is in the area. Just things that make you say, what is going on here? And Bianca says, hello to Miss Kim. I tell you what's going on. They're testing us. They're testing us as a people to see how far that they could go with things and how much they could get away with legally or socially when people start clapping back. And when people begin to clap back, that's when we're going to have an even bigger problem on our hands. But somebody out there told me I was fear-mongering when I said, y'all know that this will eventually start turning on people that look like us. This gentleman in this video, that could be my cousin. That could be me living up north in a cold winter and being attacked. And it's expected to just cooperate and just go right along with it. Everything's going to be all right. All you have to do is just prove your citizenship. Well, really? Show us your papers. Then you had this kind of
those extended Obamacare subsidies expire. What's your message to those 24 million Americans who will see their insurance premiums go up?
We're talking about healthcare now. I'm done talking about immigration and the lies that were spread all year long, and the fans of Trump are ecstatic that they're going after people of color. When they turn on them, hey, it is what it is. And then I also saw on social media where the Somalian Americans are reaching out to the natural born African American Black people of America for support. And Black Americans saying, nah, we good. We sitting this one out too. Because remember y'all said what y'all said about us being lazy and good for nothing. But now you need our help. Nah, good. You got it. Go right ahead. Us African American ascended African descendants of slaves. American descendants of slaves. ADOS. We tired. Y'all gonna pick up that good fight and keep going until y'all get what y'all want. Because everything that we fought for and wanted, we got, and it was stripped away. And while it was being stripped away, y'all were nowhere to be found until y'all liberties were touched. And now you expect us to come back and fight for y'all after everything that y'all got was because of our ancestors and the fights that they went and did? Okay. Nah, we sitting this one out too. We tired. Just our prayer says hello to Miss Kim. Miss Kim says, hey, Bianca, hey, Jen. And Miss Kim also says, the Somalians will get no support from me. They voted for Kankles. They believed in him. Even if they did vote for Kamala, and let's acknowledge what they did do. They voted against Kamala mostly because she was a woman. And they didn't think a woman could lead our nation in the right direction. They were more fearful of she will hit the red button versus this guy that's currently occupying 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, who happened to knock down the whole east wing of the White House, a historical building, to build a ballroom of his choosing on it. Let that sink in just for a second. The guy that y'all chose. And this is what the guy that y'all chose had to say about healthcare and them providing subsidies.
So bad because, obviously you're a sycophant for Democrats. You're obviously a provider of bad news for Republicans. Let me just say something. The Republicans, I think I can speak for Tom and most other people. I think what most Republicans want to see is what I want to see. And I leave it to them, and hopefully they're going to put great legislation on this desk right here. We want to see all of the money that's been squandered and given to insurance companies, because Obamacare is horrible health insurance. It's far too expensive, and it always has been. But what it really is a way of making insurance companies rich. We want the money not to be paid at all to insurance companies. Insurance companies have gone up 1,700% over a short, meaning the stock, 1,700% over a short period of time. And they've taken in hundreds of billions and even trillions of dollars. And we want the money to go to the people.
How could it be hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars at the same time? It can't be both. Pick one.
They'll go in the form of a insurance account, healthcare account, or any other form that we can create. We have a lot of different forms. We want to give the money to the people and let the people buy their own great healthcare.
So, remember, this is the same guy that said, I have concepts of a plan. When he was in office for 4 years, they had no plan. He's been in office coming up on a year and still no plan. And what's so interesting about how they're framing how expensive healthcare is what they're not saying it out loud is it's expensive for the government. The government shouldn't have to pay all this money for health care. We don't want to pay all this money. What they're not also saying is how the Affordable Health Care Act is set up in terms of its marketplace for healthcare, in which you still have the choice of picking what health care insurance provider you want to use. It is simply a broker that provides a breakdown and resources to the pathway of receiving healthcare. This is the part that they're not saying. They're making it sound like that Obamacare is its own health plan. And it's not. The Affordable Health Care Act is not its own health plan. Separate from the insurance providers. Because low key, he threw a little bit of truth in there. Yes, they are giving money to the health care providers because that's how subsidies work. It subsidizes and lessens the burden of cost to those that use it through form of government funding. But this idiot make it sound like they're just giving a blank check to people. Cankles. It's not like that. But this is how they've been framing things to fit their narrative. And I understand that when it comes to healthcare, healthcare by design, you go in to that portal, it redirects you to the state in most cases, and the state, working with the federal government, finds funding for the plan that you choose to help lessen the burden of cost. Like when you sign up for health care under your employer, under W-2s. Your employer pays a percentage to the healthcare provider, and you pay a portion. Without those subsidies, that portion that you would pay, without your employer paying that portion, your cost goes up. And it's not by a little bit, $1 or $2, maybe $10, $30, $40, $100. No, it goes up by thousands of dollars, trillions of dollars, as he likes to say. Because the bigger the number, the scarier it sounds to them. We have to make it sound urgent and dire. And the reason why the subsidies were running out in the first place was because they created this program to fund it for a certain amount of time where they would eventually go back and reform it. Reform healthcare provisions that were co-funded by the federal government But you hear them going back to old Republican talking points of, well, maybe we should make it privatized where the money goes into an account and you can take the money and do whatever you want with it and find your own provider from. Here's the problem with that. A couple states tried that and the system failed. They won't tell people about those failures because they had went back and reformed it into a working system. Like the state of Massachusetts, in which the entire affordable health care plan was directly modeled after, which in Massachusetts, it was a Republican plan. And the whole notion that Obama took that plan, added and improved on it to make it widespread available to every American, upset the Republican Party. Obama bad. New plan good. What is new plan? No plan in new plan. Huh? But Obama plan bad. What? Make that make sense. And so ever since then, they just been trying to figure out a way to just paint this narrative that, oh, it's too expensive. Oh, it wasn't expensive for people of up there in Massachusetts, was it? Now, some of the real flaws in the Affordable Health Care Act has to do with this infrastructure of how companies qualify to be promoted on there and what plans they're allowed to promote. Because I don't know the last time any of you guys have signed up for healthcare. There'd be like 50 million different plans that they throw at you with all these different combinations of coverage, and the costs be all over the place. And you're stuck with it for a year. And there's no real people out there to explain these things to you. Except, some of them may work. Because that was another thing the Affordable Health Care Act created, new jobs, in which they created these agents that will walk you through the plans and what it offered and what you're signing up for and what works for you. And it hadn't been anything like that except directly through the healthcare providers like Blue Cross Blue Shield. That's something that they had agents on the phone that will talk to you through the plans that you're selecting. That wasn't available to everyone in every state. To the Affordable Health Care Act. But Cankles here won't tell you that. He won't say none of that. Instead, they'll make up something. They'll make up things, and before you know it, it's a hot mess, and you done coughed up more than $300 of your hard-earned money per month, or for some people per pay period, for a plan that won't do anything for you. And it's all a game to them, because ultimately they couldn't profit off of the Affordable Health Care Act the way it was structured. And because they would have to dismantle it to rebrand and package it with these hidden features in it, in which they're trying to do and trying to figure out a way to grease their palms with it as they give help to the American people. That's what it comes down to. And then we have people that's arguing, like this gentleman here.
And we're listening to nonsense about health care, where my colleagues on the other side of the aisle sit here saying, well, you guys aren't doing anything about the massive expensive cost of health care. Why do you think it's expensive? Because you literally cut a deal with insurance companies to run health care. You think that's going to run wild? Yeah. That's why they have 2,000% profit increases, and the American people can't afford to go to the doctor of their choice while we enrich insurance companies. And yet Republicans will complain about it, and then they'll offer milquetoast garbage like we're offering this week, and then go home at Christmas and say, look at what we're doing. We're campaigning on reducing health care. Well, congratulations. At some point, people will look at this body and say, maybe we should get rid of all 435 members of the House and all 100 members of the Senate and start over, because Congress is literally failing the American people. I yield back.
What made the insurance providers richer under the Affordable Health Care Act was because y'all created a free market in which they could provide as many plans as they want to, as long as it met the guidelines in which y'all had provided to them, and then y'all give them the funding to subsidize, to keep the payments low for regular people that work these jobs that don't have health care provided through the employer, or to those people that are self-employed and need health care. It was an alternative to going directly to the healthcare providers. The reason why they got more money is because of how many people, because of the provisions of the Affordable Health Care Act, which they were initially fining people $600 per year if you didn't, and requiring you to have health care to avoid that penalty of $600. Of course, more people in, more money comes in. That's how they got rich. And subsequently, if more people are coming to the portal and signing up for the health care, that means the government has to pay more money out to subsidize the healthcare expenses. Now, when the healthcare provider starts dropping 8-9 plans under y'all guidance instead of 3, a limit of 3 or 2, because y'all wanted to keep the market competitive. This is what you end up with. And now you want to complain? Y'all set it up that way. I don't understand how you are able to sit up here and say what you said. Now, granted, y'all ain't got no replacement for it. What are y'all planning to do? Sit up there and just talk about what y'all would do and do nothing. But point fingers at each other, say, well, the Republicans, the Democrats is the reason why your plans are going sky high. More Americans have been covered by healthcare providers under the Affordable Health Care Act because of the provisions of the Affordable Health Care Act, aka Obamacare, because he actually cared as a president to do something about it, not just trying to leave a legacy in which you're deemed the greatest president of all by any means necessary. No. This was actually something that benefited people. To tell the bartender that they can't get health care because they're a bartender is ludicrous. To tell that construction worker that's working 1099 and not W-2 that they can't get health care because they're a construction worker, and you're like, well, you need to pay for it on your own. I'm being taxed the same way as normal. I don't have the funds myself to pay for this on my own. And your thoughts is, well, we just give the money to the people directly and let them choose. You're still giving the money to the doggone healthcare providers at the end. If you give the money straight to the people 9 times out of 10 are not going to use it for healthcare. What do you care? The money is flowing. You're not even thinking about things straight, honestly. Having it regulated versus unregulated is what we're standing on right now. Thank God the House of Representatives actually came together and passed something to fund them for 3 years. For the next 3 years. And I know they're going to fight it tooth and nail and try to figure out a way to stop it from being funded after the midterm elections. But I am sensing something out here in this atmosphere that, based on this right here, this video right here,
Republicans have broken from Mike Johnson and will force a vote to extend Affordable Care Act subsidies. A huge embarrassment for Speaker Johnson and leadership, which didn't want to extend ACA subsidies. Well, now a vote on Leader Hakeem Jeffries' discharge petition, which will extend ACA subsidies for a period of 3 years. There will be a vote in the House. 4 Republicans, at least 4, have already signed on to it, and that likely number is going to grow. So the number of Republicans, according to Punchbowl, that have signed on to it include Mike Lawler, Ryan McKenzie, Rob Bresnahan, and other Republicans as well. That means the House will now vote on a clean 3-year extension of the Obamacare premium subsidies. That is a huge break for Mike Johnson, a huge win for people who want ACA subsidies extended. Now, that just because we have a vote doesn't mean it's going to pass, but it's likely to pass the House, and then it's going to head to the Senate, putting a lot of pressure on senators. Breaking news. Follow for more.
Aaron from Midas Touch, man, you are a gem and a scholar, man. I have to say this about the situation at hand right there. The Republican Party is cracking and breaking apart because reality is sinking in. And as that reality, this new reality is starting to form, the House of Cards, Trump house, that is falling apart because the math ain't mathing and nothing is making sense any longer. And what we're ending up with is something crazier going to happen. They're going to begin to do things to try and maintain order and power that are going to defy all that we have known as Americans. And we're going to have to make a real tough decision whether to sit on the sidelines or get out there and fight. And what's happening politically right now, the party that is pro-Trump is breaking. Because the reality is people are out here hurting and they are asking the hard questions. And these hard questions, they can't answer because they don't have it and they never had it. And to understand that because they never had it, they're never going to get it. They're not. I'm trying to let y'all know something, that we have a problem as a nation. And as this problem unfolds the way it has been, there is going to be more issues to come. And as they grow, they're not going to be able to wiggle their way out of those issues. They're going to have to face them head on, and some of them are not ready for that. And why? It's because these jokers are playing a game that they thought they had the rule books for. And God is saying, nope. Speaking of,
I think that we did a great job ending slavery, which we did. But I don't know if this is just because it helps you become a bestseller, but you add this line, the tyranny of imaginary guilt. You're a Christian theologian, and you're saying we shouldn't feel guilty at all about 3 million Africans being taken out of their homes and moved across the Atlantic? The guilt is imaginary? Why can't we have guilt and also believe everything you just said?
First of all, we can only feel guilt for something we did.
We did. We did take 3 million people out of Africa.
You and I.
This syndrome right here. We can't feel guilty for something that we didn't do. You and I, meaning the people that's currently occupying this world. Don't hold me accountable for what my ancestors did. The disassociation with history and the notion to rewrite the history based off of your re-encounter of said history. Don't hold me accountable for what they did before me, but yet I don't want to be shamed for what mistakes somebody else made, but all they triumphs, give me all that. Pat me on the back as being a part of that.
I didn't. No, you and I didn't. I can lament what some of our ancestors did. I can't feel guilty for it.
So that means hold on. So you're telling me with a straight face, you don't take pride in Britain in us defeating the Nazis in World War II?
Britain and the United States and all the allied countries take pride in taking down the Nazis and Adolf Hitler. They don't take pride in the Holocaust. But they honor the Holocaust. But then when it comes to slaving Africans, I ain't a part of that. Nope. I had nothing to do with it. Don't blame that on me. Don't put me in. Why are you disassociating with that? But you're free to I wonder.
You've never taken pride in that.
Where's your comeback? Where's the comeback? This is intellectual dishonesty.
I take pride in it. I admire the fact of what
How can you take pride in it? It's not us.
Well, no, of course. I can't claim credit for having done that because I didn't. My parents did. I didn't.
We as British people take pride.
Only indirectly.
So why can't we take guilt indirectly?
In terms of guilt, because you cannot be guilty for something you didn't do. You can be responsible for the effects. You can't be guilty for it.
But you can take pride in something you didn't do. But you can take pride in something you didn't do.
Metaphorically. So I prefer to talk. I prefer to use the word admiration now.
You could have written.
I prefer the word admiration, to admire the triumphs and disassociate with the failures. And to be a Christian it's crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. That we can sit here and paint all these narratives that we create about people in society and pick and choose, the cherry picking of what we will advocate for and state that we stand for as long as we don't get to die on that cross with it. It's quite astonishing. And the reason why I brought this up is because this is the level of delusion that we have going on amongst people around the world. And how can you combat that when they just simply just, well, that wasn't me. That wasn't, I wouldn't do that. And I'm not proud of what they did, but ... They kind of shoulder shrug. It is what it is. I feel bad for it, but you benefited from it. You grew from it. You profited from it. You progressed from it. And as a Christian, it saddens me. Because we go from this spectrum of things to a whole nother side of things with this next clip. Shout out to T.
I grew up in a house with a strong, praying, tambourine bumping grandmama. You know what I'm saying? My auntie, strong, very, very strong in prayer. So I know how to pray and I know the word. You know what I'm saying? I know God is real and I've seen the presence in the hand that he's had in my life personally. Nobody ain't got to tell me that. I just ain't never felt the connection with church.
Why?
Man, I don't know. It just ain't. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think it real. You know what I'm saying? I think that it's a business just like anything else, and it's a show just like anything else. You know.
To say that church is a business,
like you go to,
and it's a show just like everything else. As a Christian, that lets you know how far we have fallen as a people that fall under the umbrella of Christianity and followers of Christ. Because what we now are looking at is a whole nother entity versus what the church was. We're talking about the lights, the cameras, the performance of the music, the tone and cadence of the sermon, all wrapped into a package presented to the people as this is what you need every week. Come here.
Broadway, you see a show. I feel like it's just like somebody standing up and public speaking, just like you get like a TED talk. And a lot of times they be putting a lot of cap on it. And when I say cap, I'm saying cap in their action. The word is the word, but sometimes they try and twist the word, make the word mean something, you know, that will be personally benefiting to them, and not necessarily what the word mean, you know, as its purpose. And that to me, because if you think about it, only times when you read the word, anybody know the word, and you study the life of Jesus Christ, the only time you really saw Jesus Christ lose his temple was in the church.
If you read that passage in the Bible, you will understand where T.I. is coming from. I understand that Christ Jesus, that is, love for the church and the institution that he envisioned it to be was challenged in his time. The challenges that they faced were cultural challenges, society challenges, and the church was meant to be above that, separated from that, and its own entity. And when the world blends and comes as this new form, new world order meaning organization, you begin to question things that you see in that organization, as T.I. is laying out and articulating here from his experience. I go into the church. I'm met with greetings, salutations. Okay. I feel welcomed and pulled in. And then when I'm there, the atmosphere is churned like butter, and stuff is pumped into it. And as it's mixed up, and as our feelings of the euphoric atmosphere of the music gets the mixing and mingling and everything, and the highs and the lows of everything being told to me, I feel like I'm being set up for something. And I'll let him tell you what he saw.
He went to the church and seen what was going on in the church, seen how the church people were handling the word of God and what they were doing to manipulate it, to personally benefit, from the word of God. That's when Jesus got mad, flipping table.
Oh, that's when he flipped the table.
Yeah, flipping table. You know what I'm saying? And you had Jesus out here like he don't love hip hop. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But that's why. 'Cause I connect with the word, like the true word, the spirit. I don't need no broker. I don't need no middleman. I don't need nobody to get my word. I done heard a preacher, I done been to church before, and the preacher say, come on, y'all, put it to the collection plate, dig deeper, get your prayers past the ceiling. I say, hold up, wait a minute. Y'all telling me I got to pay this joker. You know what I'm saying? For my God to hear my prayer. Man, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
that's unfortunate. Like that. Those moments are unfortunate.
I mean, they are, and I'm not, and I don't put that on the entire, because I think for the most part, there are people who are strong, church going, God fearing people that go to church with the intention of serving and praising God. However, I think there's some leadership. There's enough leadership. There's enough people in enough positions that understand that there is ways to manipulate this word to personally benefit. I've never.
To understand that T.I. began to think, and as a man thinks about his life and all that he's been through versus the external experiences that are trying to come in to influence his life to elevate, or as he put it, manipulate. we began to compare. And as we compare our life's experience, like he said, I have a connection with the Most High. And now you have set up this place called the church, labeled Christianity as the broker between me and that same God. What? Some of the same reasons why Jesus flipped the tables was they turned the church building into something that it was not meant to be. Let us come in here and sell merchandise and trade amongst each other in the house of the Lord. And what was quite interesting, some allegations were that they were doing it there so they didn't have to pay taxes to Caesar. And these very same leaders, ones he came in, stormed the building, flipping tables and challenging them on things, they brought up that very same thing as a question to see his allegiance. And he simply says, pay Caesar what is owed to Caesar. Knowing that that's not what they're doing. He knew that. And he challenged them to be better. And what we found to happen over the years, the business of the world began to bleed into the business of the church. And the church evolved, I'll say. But like he said, people began to twist the word into...
I've never been like a church person.
Where their target audience is a church person. The very person that they need, they crave and feed off of to keep going, whatever their agenda is. And then they use certain words and certain phrases and to appeal to emotions, just like the politicians do. And what is so interesting in conversation is how we were able to blur the lines of politics of the world and then politics of the church, to where you have a political party that says they're the party of Christians, but their actions is not Christian actions. And then they point at the other party and say, well, they're not as Christian as us. And round and round we go. None of it feels real anymore, because politicians were supposed to really be for a representative of the people. Somewhere along the way, they no longer became representatives of the people. They became representatives of themselves and their own agenda and belief systems, and it all became too sad. in my opinion. That's just my opinion only. In the comments of this video, I have dropped the link for those that wish to come up and talk. I have one last segment that I'm going to get to. Y'all can come on in, and I'm going to run through this last segment real quick. Over the weekend, we had several things that transpire. Shootings, mass pew-pews, for those that don't like to hear that S word, and unalivings. One was a professor at another university over the weekend, and this one here, the Rob Reiner, film director, actor. He is most notable for his role at the All in Family in movies like A Few Good Men, The Runaway Bride, and I forgot there was another one that had I'm drawing a blank on that one. It's a movie about the bucket list, with Danny Glover and Morgan Freeman in it. Hilarious movie, by the way. Was unalived over the weekend allegedly by their son. Reason why we can continue to say allegedly, and even though that evidence is pointing to that, is because his lawyer is in fact contesting it. And what was quite interesting to me was some of the things that came out with our president and his rhetoric towards this gentleman. And I just can't believe that he was, I'm not even going to post it, but it's out there all over the internet. This guy pretty much smeared all over this and chose to take this time to take political jabs at someone that is not in politics, somebody that has questioned Sir Trump, Captain Cankles, as Ms. Kim eloquently have called him on several occasions. Took it upon himself to use this moment to not honor somebody, to just totally dishonor them, knowing that they were beloved. And it just lets you know that he don't care about nobody but himself. And that was made apparent when he up and decided to also label the Fenty, as I call it, aka fentanyl, as a weapon of mass destruction. WMDs, as we call them, for short. I am totally floored at that. And that I will show you guys because it's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm like, how did we get here? How did we get here? I hope y'all heard that. I wanted y'all to see it, but I hope y'all heard it. To label a narcotic here we go. He labels this narcotic fentanyl as a WMD in an executive order.
From the scourge of deadly fentanyl flooding into our country. With this historic executive order I will sign today, we're formally classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction, which is what it is. No bomb does what this is doing. 200 to 300,000 people die every year that we know of. So we're formally classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction.
If if you didn't hear him the first time, he had to say it a second time to ensure the potency of the urgency of the level in which of concern that he has about this illegal thing, the fentanyl. It's a weapon of mass destruction. It lets you know that, like, there's a level of this in which they have no level in which they will deem as low. We have to say this is low. This is absolutely low of them. And as they deem this as what they are calling it, y'all got to understand what that does. I think this video here might explain it a little bit better. My man's Preemie.
I feel like I've seen this before. I don't know exactly where I saw it. I don't remember how it began or the stuff in the middle. Just how it ended. War. I just can't put my finger on exactly where I saw it. Maybe y'all can help me. And welcome to Pattern Recognition, where we recognize the patterns before they wreck us. I am your host, Preemie Sterling, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about everybody's favorite phrase, weapons of mass destruction. Let's play. Recognize. Trump has signed an executive order declaring as a weapon of mass destruction. Iffy, because we've already sent out at least 25 bombs to Venezuelan drug cartel boats, but that's besides the point. Remember in 2002, where George Bush just randomly got on that mic and said, Iraq has weapons of mass destruction. And then we never found them?
That part. We never found them. We never found those WMDs in Afghanistan or Iraq. But we went in there and continue, mister.
Yeah. Pattern. Recognize. The administration says the danger is over there. But over there where? Mexico, China, Venezuela. Feel like sometimes we forget that to get here. But they got to be sold in here.
They got to be sold here. They got to be sold here. They got to be sold here by somebody. And for them to promulgate across this great nation. But continue to cook, my man.
By people that live in here. And most of them be from here. But that's besides the point. You remember in 2001? After 9/11, when we was blaming Iraq, said the danger was over there. And the danger wasn't over there. Pattern.
Recognize, now that fentanyl is designated a weapon of mass destruction, they can expand power and use military force. What was once a public health issue is now a matter of national security. And the last time somebody said weapons of mass destruction, we went to war. We going to war, ain't it? Pattern.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think it's bad, and I don't want anybody going down that path of destruction. But I also don't want anybody going down the path of deception. Again, just because they say they're looking for weapons of mass destruction doesn't mean they're looking for weapons of mass destruction. Sometimes they go over to a place telling you they're looking for those weapons of mass destruction that they told you was over there, and it don't be over there, and then they leave with something else, like oil or something.
Yeah.
This was Pattern Recognition. I'm your host, Premium Stillen, and I hope you recognize the pattern. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful day. You know I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. But if I don't, stay out of trouble.
Thank you, Mr. Premium. I appreciate you keeping us informed, because there is a problem. And as they've been targeting boats in the Caribbean and sending helicopters to board oil tankers and cargo ships, they're gearing up for something. And if we're not paying attention, another great city may become a pond in their little game. This has been Unveiled Vibrations. I know it was a little long tonight. I have a guest here in the chat. Joining me is none other than Justin Butler. Welcome.
I can't stay long without. I want to say a couple words if I can. I can't stay long tonight, but I'm going to say a couple words if I get a chance to. You're doing a good job so far, and I think that I appreciate the stories you bring to me, because sometimes when you bring a story, the first time I ever hear it. So continue. I don't hear a lot of the things that you bring on your panel a lot, because a lot of people don't talk about what you talk about. So I appreciate what you talk about. So continue to keep doing it, and thank you very much for that.
Appreciate it, man.
There's a lot of things that I don't see till I see it on your show. So congratulations on that one, and continue going like that. But I think that we're going to have to stay prayed up, like I said a couple of weeks ago, because I think it could be the beginning of a different way of doing things. Today, I see a lot of different things changing. I feel it so far. I don't know how it's going to end up being, but we're gonna see how it goes.
Absolutely, brother. Prayer is one of our weapons.
Yes,
indeed. And this is one of the things that I definitely hope is Antifa-ish, is that we wake up as a people.
Well, I have already woken up on my side, so I know see what's going on. But other people need to realize that. But thank you for bringing stuff to Tyrone. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't find out. So thank you very much.
No problem. I feel, as I see things on the internet and they hit me in a way that I feel like it becomes my duty and obligation to represent that stuff in a space where that we can talk about it and have a real conversation about it and express how we feel about
That's
it.
my sound. That's my sound went out, but that's okay. So I apologize about that. My sound went out.
And that's the type of platform I'm trying to generate here, a space that we can have the conversation about these things and like be informed. Because there's another young lady that I follow that I'll throw her name out there. The cosmetology.
Yeah.
Cosmo is her nickname that she goes by. She follows the actual military actions and world event things. And I'll tell you like this, the things that she catch, like something that came across my radar this morning, there was a JetBlue flight leaving from Venezuela heading to the United States that met military aircrafts in air.
Yeah.
And the military aircraft transponders were off. Then that is how they communicate between aircrafts in the same airspace. What
Why
do
did they
you
turn it off?
mean your transponders were off?
Yeah, what do you mean? That don't make sense. But
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to stir the pot on something and incite something for the future. And it starts to make me wonder, like she says on her platform, that there's something brewing.
Yeah. And I have to agree with you because I see something brewing and I can feel it. So, I can see it and I can feel it. So, we just gotta stay prayed up,
And
we can't do nothing else. But I can feel it and I can see it.
When I saw what was going on in the Pacific Northwest with the flooding, my heart could only go out to them. But at the same time, like I said earlier in the show, when it was New Mexico and parts of Texas and Arizona, Oklahoma that were going through it, those folks weren't empathizing with them. Now it's their turn. They want empathy. And I'm like, that is so un-American of you.
Yeah.
That it's now normalized as American
to
not care for our neighbor, no matter what they're going through, until things get so dire and so rough that you have no choice but to lean on each other.
Yeah. And like I said, I lean on my team every day to get through the stuff I gotta get through. I wouldn't be able to get through it without all of you. So thanks very much. And I'm gonna continue to do that because I have
Glad
to.
to be here for you, brother. Glad to be here for you. I am so happy to hear the things are kind of shifting with the Affordable Health Care Act. And I think about those that rely on it too. And I pray.
I'm one of them, so I'm glad to hear. I'm one of them, so I'm glad to hear. I'm on Medicaid, so yeah.
And that's my prayers, like that people that can't cover themselves be covered. No,
I hope it passes because I hope it passes the House because
it's up to the Senate now.
Yeah.
And if the Senate is on their P's and Q's, we'll have something for the new year.
I hope so. Like I said like I said a couple weeks ago, might have some major surgery coming up in the future. So,
Mhm.
I've been like a lot of help to have that. But, let's see what happens.
Indeed.
We will see what happens.
We shall see what happens, and
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie with Tyron because I got a little bit of emotional after you and I got off the line past 2 weeks ago, but it's okay.
and I can understand that too, brother,
Yeah.
because you're looking at real life situations,
Yeah.
and to know that there are people out there that can just play around with your life for whatever reason that they can drum up, personal or political, party wise. It's like what I said earlier. Where they went wrong is when they stopped working for the people.
Yes, sir. And I wouldn't be able to get through it without the level of support with everybody, and Tyrone especially.
And
because
sometimes
when I feel like I said, I feel the most comfortable up here and stuff like that. So I can be myself on here, and thanks to you, Tyrone, and thanks to my whole entire team.
know that we're here with you, brother, and we got you. Our prayers are constant, and our thoughts are constant. And I'll say like this to end the show, like those that don't have anyone, we're here. Faithful Warrior Ministry is here for y'all. And you can join us on Saturdays, every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. or 10-ish, as we like to put it.
And I try my best to be there, but sometimes I try my best to be there, but sometimes I can't make it early in the morning. So.
It's early in the morning, you know.
Yeah.
We be a little tired because it's a lot going on, and we living life, but we're coming. We're gonna be there always until the good Lord says, "Come home."
Yeah.
Because we're faithful to this. We're a faithful bunch of prayer warriors that will pray the heavens will come down and give you all that you need: the support, the love, the encouragement, the empowerment, everything. Because God is the final say in everything.
Yes, sir.
Y'all can meet me back here next week. Even though it's right before Christmas, I plan to come here. I'll be here 8:30.
I'll be here.
Boy, it took. I spent like almost 2 hours getting this show ready for tonight.
I appreciate all the hard work you put into doing this show.
It was a lot.
I know it's not easy. But I do my own. I do my 9-day fiance program, and it's not easy for me to do that job to do that either. But I put a lot of work into it, so I know it's a lot of work to do.
Definitely appreciate that. And as always, like I always end the show with, if no one has told you out there that they love you, I do. I want you to know that. I love you, man.
Love you.
We
Love
will
you, Jonathan.
wish you all a good night. We out of here, man.
We out of here. We'll see you all next week.
See y'all next week.